Hi everyone. So obviously I know that reading through a video is not ideal, nor is it fun. Honestly, folks, this is just as frustrating for me. I would much rather be there in person with you reading the novel together, but until I get to come back, this is what we have to do. We left off in chapter 2. If you are following along with the PDF, we're on page 10. Um, and we are more towards the top where it says, "So I expected," in that first bit of dialogue. If you are reading the book, that's a little bit more tricky. I do not have the book on me. I did not think to grab it when I left in preparation because I honestly didn't know that I was going to be gone for this long. So you're going to have to do your best to figure out where we are in chapter 2 if you would like to follow along in the book. But we left off on last Thursday. We started reading chapter 2, and we were introduced to some new information. So we know that there's a ceremony of 12, and that is what Jonas is nervous about, and his parents right now are giving him some advice on really what he can expect as far as the ceremony goes and why he shouldn't feel as anxious as he does, or as he puts it, apprehensive. So Jonas's dad, we kind of left off with Jonas talking about, or Jonas and his parents talking about how, Jonas shouldn't feel worried because the committee of elders, which is the governing body in the community, they watch the children from the time they're born until the time they turn 12 to see what their interests are, where they excel, and what they're really good at as far as what they do in the community. And that's how the elders pick their jobs. And Jonas's dad is saying, obviously I knew that I wanted to be a nurturer, but the committee of elders knew too because they watched me, and that's where we left off. So we're right up here at the top. So I expected it, and I was pleased but not at all surprised when my assignment was announced as nurturer, Father explained. Did everyone applaud even though they weren't surprised? Jonas asked. Of course. They were happy for me, that my assignment was what I wanted most. I felt very fortunate, his father smiled. Were any of the 11s disappointed your year? Jonas asked. Unlike his father, he had no idea what his assignment would be, but he knew that some would disappoint him. Though he respected his father's work, nurture would not be his wish, and he didn't envy laborers at all. His father thought. No, I don't think so. Of course, the elders are so careful in their observations and selections. I think it's probably the most important job in our community, his mother commented. My friend Yoshiko was surprised by her selection as doctor, Father said, but she was thrilled. And let's see, there was Andre. I remember that when we were boys, Andre, I'm sorry, um, that he never wanted to do physical things. He spent all the recreation time he could with his construction set, and his volunteer hours were always on building sites. The elders knew that, of course. Andre was given the assignment of engineer, and he was delighted. Andre later designed the bridge that crosses the river to the west of the town, Jonas's mother said. It wasn't there when we were children. There are very rarely disappointments. I don't think you need to worry about that, his father reassured him. And if there are, there's an appeal process. But they all laughed at that. An appeal went to a committee for study. Remember, if you just to kind of call back from last time, we talked briefly about how changing rules in the committee was kind of laughed at because it never happens, and it's the same idea here, right? Nothing that goes to the committee gets done because remember, the rules that they have are set in stone for a reason, and them changing them would cause issues and confusion. I worry a little about Asher's assignment, Jonas confessed. Asher is such fun, but he doesn't really have any serious interests. He makes a game out of everything. His father chuckled. He said, I remember when Asher was a new child at the nurturing center before he was named. He never cried. He giggled and laughed at everything. All of us on the staff enjoyed nurturing Asher. The elders know Asher, his mother said. They'll find exactly the right assignment for him. I don't think you need to worry about him, but Jonas, let me warn you about something that may not have occurred to you. I know I didn't think about it until after my ceremony of 12. What's that? Well, it's the last of the ceremonies, you know. After 12, age isn't important. Most of us even lose track of how old we are as time passes, though the information is in the Hall of Open Records and we could go and look it up if we wanted to. What's important is the preparation for adult life and the training you'll receive in your assignment. I know that, Jonas said. Everyone knows that. But it means, his mother went on, that you'll move into a new group, and each of your friends will. You'll no longer be spending your time with your group of 11s. After the ceremony of 12, you'll be with your assignment group, with those in training. No more volunteer hours, no more recreation hours, so your friends will no longer be as close. Jonas shook his head. Asher and I will always be friends, he said firmly, and there will still be school. Okay, so um, I don't remember if I used this analogy yet, but I just want you guys to understand how quickly kids in this community have to grow up. So in our world, when you graduate high school, usually 7 or 18, you are then not expected, but encouraged to go off to college if that is the route that your career that you want to do in later in life requires you to do. So, for example, I had to go to college to get my degree so that I could teach you all to become a teacher. And it's the same idea with this group of kids. However, instead of going at 17 or 18, they start going to college or getting their job training when they turn 12. So essentially, like, you know, they make they don't make the decision. The committee of elders makes the decision that sets up basically how the rest of their life is going to go at the age of 12. I just want you to sit and think about that for a second. Do you think you would be able to give up all the extra fun stuff that you get to do in your free time, like sports? Maybe if you're really into video games, I'm trying to think what other things, playing outside with your friends, all of that stuff you wouldn't get to do anymore because you'd be doing more adult things like training for your job and learning about the newest job assignment that you're going to have. That stuff doesn't exist in this community, right? So essentially you're growing up and learning what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life at the age of 12. That's crazy. And that's what Jonas's mom is telling him. Yes, obviously she wants him to be, you know, excited and understand that the ceremony of 12 that's coming up is a good thing and it's exciting, but also that there are big changes coming Jonas's way that he probably isn't thinking about right now. So I just wanted you guys to really resonate with that for a second before we move on. Okay. That's true, his father agreed, but what your mother said is true as well. There will be changes. Good changes, though, his mother pointed out. After my ceremony of 12, I missed my childhood recreation, but when I entered my training for law and justice, I found myself with people who shared my interests. I made friends on a new level, friends of all ages. Did you still play at all after 12? Jonas asked. Occasionally, his mother replied, but it didn't seem as important to me. I did, his father said, laughing. I still do, every day at the nurturing center. I play bounce on the knee and peekaboo and hug the teddy bear. He reached over and stroked Jonas's neatly trimmed hair. Fun doesn't end when you become 12. Lily appeared wearing her night clothes in the doorway. She gave an impatient sigh. This is certainly a very long private conversation, she said, and there are certain people waiting for their comfort object. Lily, her mother said fondly, you're very close to being an 8, and when you're an 8, your comfort object will be taken away. It will be recycled to the younger children. You should be starting to go off to sleep without it. But her father had already gone to the shelf and taken down the stuffed elephant, which was what was kept there. Stuffed elephant which was kept there. Many of the comfort objects, like Lily's, were soft, stuffed, imaginary creatures. Jonas's had been called a bear. Here you are, Lily Billy, he said. I'll come help you remove your hair ribbons. Jonas and his mother rolled their eyes, yet they watched affectionately as Lily and her father headed to her sleeping room with the stuffed elephant that had been given to her as a comfort object. When she was born, his mother moved to her big desk and opened her briefcase. Her work never seemed to end, even when she was at home in the evening. Jonas went to his own desk and began to sort through his school papers for the evening's assignments, but his mind was still on December and the coming ceremony. Okay, there isn't much to break down with this one. I do want to talk about some of the jobs that could be potentials for what Jonas would be assigned during the ceremony of 12. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that little thing of notes that I've started so that you guys can hopefully put those in your notebooks just so you have them for yourselves as well. All right, so I've got my notes pulled up. And this is just kind of a running number of jobs that have been mentioned in the story so far. So we've got nurturer, which is obviously what Jonas's dad does, Department of Justice, which is what his mom does. We've had mentioned laborers a couple of times, and those are people that do, you know, kind of janitorial work and upkeep for the community. They mentioned one of their friends became a doctor in their group of 11s that became 12s, and the city planner, that guy that was always building with his construction set and stuff and built the bridge in the city or in the community. So we're going to hear a bunch more, but these are just some of the options that the community offers as far as jobs go. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Though he had been reassured by the talk with his parents, he hadn't the slightest idea what assignment the elders would be selecting for his future or how he might feel when the day came. And that brings us to chapter 3, and we're going to stop there for today. So soon we're going to get into what the December ceremony looks like. And we start to get an idea, too, with Lily, how things change between the different ages. So her mom mentioned briefly that Lily's comfort object, the stuffed elephant, remember they don't know what animals are, so it's an imaginary creature. When Lily turns 8, because she's a 7 now, she doesn't get to hold on to that elephant anymore, and it goes to the younger kids who might be being born currently or, you know, are going to be in the future for the new children. So with each age, something changes, whether it's a physical thing like your hair, your clothes change. There was the mention of getting a bike when you turn 9 that you ride around in the community. And then obviously other things that signify that you're getting older. We're going to see what those look like as we continue reading. I think that is all for today as far as reading goes. Again, if there are questions that you have that I did not answer in the breakdowns, let me know. You do have an assignment to work on, so go ahead and get that done. And thanks, guys. I appreciate it.